I imagine that that's kind of a staple over there because it does beat the slower decks, and Dragon being another staple, it's kind of a nice counter deck.
Dragon's kind of popular in Japan.
Absolutely.
They love Dragon.
Alright, so we're getting kicked off here, guys.
Neutral Sword, okay.
Yeah, Neutral Sword versus
that.
Dragon.
I like where Neutral Sword has gone.
And the Japanese players not doing a lot of crazy stuff with the Dragon Summoner, like they're not playing their Rahabs. We did see Ouroboros in the last game. We might not see Ouroboros here.
Neutral Sword with a Fangblade Slayer.
That's right. So
Okay.
very similar to our style. Ramp Dragon, I imagine, can't really be that much different than our style. Although, I don't think we saw Polyphonic Roars on our side of the field in the last 2 days.
No, we haven't. No.
Like, that kind of drifted out of our meta, but we definitely saw it last time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Israfil even in Dragon is kind of interesting.
Right, so Ringo with a really nice curve here has Dragon Summoner into an Ayala. Or a Grimnir if he so chooses.
Mm-hmm.
Fanto over there kind of missing a 3-drop at the moment, but has a few draw steps to get there.
It's not quite the best hand out there. He can pop the Grimnir, though, still.
He can pop the Grimnir.
If that's the play.
Yeah, he's also on the draw here, so he's going to get out a little slow. And the Dragon Summoner into the IL is just going to give him a nice little form of ramp.
Yeah, I imagine, now having double IL, I imagine Ringo just goes straight for Dragon Summoner Ayala, no matter really what Dragon Summoner pulls. Fanto will have Unica to kill Dragon Summoner, but he probably won't want to Shield of Flame, the Ayala.
Right. No, definitely not.
Can't imagine.
That is not the card you want to
nice.
Shield of Flame. 2-drop will match up nicely against this Dragon Summoner.
Another Council. Ugh. That's so bricky.
Yeah. Last match we saw a lot of bricks. We saw Brick Dragon for a little while. We saw Brick, D-Shift for a little while. So they are playing these decks that can brick.
Mm-hmm.
So they are susceptible to the same things we see over on our side. No change here. Taking his time with this play.
He's got a Unica tucked away in the top there.
Realizing, or kind of thinking, I guess, if it's better to play the Unica on 3 or 2 here, just to maximize maybe value with some with the Alice that he has in hand.
It's possible that was a consideration, but I just don't see a world where you ever do that.
Right.
So.
Then yeah, just easy Ayala here. Go face. Doesn't really matter. It's more psychological damage than anything.
Really, yeah.
Actually, that's something telling too, if the Japanese players like to do the psychological damage or not. I don't know yet.
I wonder, like, do they bother attacking with a 0-attack follower?
Right. This is pretty much... Nope, they
pass
don't even
turn.
bother.
Don't waste time.
Don't waste time. I guess when you're in front of all those people too, you don't really want to make yourself out to be the bad guy or
just not understand like what it looks like.
Right.
Like why are you hitting him? It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, why you do this?
Interesting that Unica went face instead of killing Dragon Summoner there for a value trade. So that Dragon Summoner will likely just live continuously for a while.
Getting some amount of value here. And the Lyrial backup play on turn 3 here, not as good as he'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, like you said, that second Ayala coming out next turn, he's going to have all the ramp in the world he needs to push to that late game. He's got the Israfil and the Pommet already. And honestly, with how slow Fanto's hand is, those Council of Card Knights are going to have to put in a ton of work.
Mm-hmm.
He does have the Fangblade Slayer for a little bit later, so he can take out one big follower, but that's about it.
If this goes Ringo's way, he'll be on Overflow. He'll be on 7 pretty soon here.
Mm-hmm. And we do see a similar style to the American side here with the Queen of the Dreadsea, so definitely combo-ish oriented at the top of the curve.
Which is kind of just good for Dragon to have. Like, they need the reach to end the game, so...
We talked about it a little bit earlier, but just kind of recover why Queen of the Dreadsea is a good option for Dragon. It's because it allows you at the end of the game to not just kind of sit there and durdle with Dragon and kind of just play one threat after another.
Right.
Once you have the board locked up, you just play out your Queen of the Dreadsea. You play out anything else, Polyphonic Roar plus a Sybil, or, plus an Israfil, or, Israfil plus something else, whatever it is. It just puts this massive board together all at once so that you can finish your opponent off in one turn.
So you can actually win the game.
So you can actually win the game instead of just sitting around.
Lands of wonders, lands of marvels.
Alice coming down is likely going to translate to 3 face damage, maybe even 5 off Unica, since there's no way you attack the Ayala.
Absolutely not. Definitely not trading that damage into the Dragon Summoner either. I imagine the evolution will come out here.
Mm-hmm. We talked a bit about, I mentioned this a little bit in the NA broadcast, North American broadcast, Dragon's sort of breaking points, right? when you can kind of consider killing a ramp Ayala.
Right.
Putting your opponent in overflow is not worth it.
That's not where you want to be doing it.
You don't want to be doing that. He's on 6 next turn. 6 is kind of whatever, but 7 is not whatever. 7 is where he needs to be. That's the danger zone.
Right.
If he was putting him to 8, whatever, maybe. 8's not that important, right? So...
That's right. And another reason for the Evo here is because if he doesn't Evo, then his entire board can get cleared by the Sybil to evolve next turn, or even the Grimnir. But if he does evolve here, the board can't be cleared.
Right, that is true. This is not hitting Ayala. There's no way.
No. So this also preserves the board from both units dying, but it does not get as much damage to face here, so I'm not really sure about this play.
It was interesting for sure. See a Zeus next to Queen of Dreadsea, it's always good.
Yep, this would allow for something to the effect of Zeus plus, you know, Sybil after a Queen of the Dreadsea, which is a furious board against a Sword deck.
Pretty winning play against Sword, yeah.
Yep.
I would say it's averagely okay.
Average, yes. A good old, you know, 25 play points worth of stuff all in one turn.
Giving it the old college try.
That's right.
Ayala is likely going to jump in front of something here.
I imagine that the Sybil will also come down just for the ramp, the life gain, can Evo it over the Alice. This is kind of what I was talking about with the Evo last turn. The extra 2 damage, it might come into play later in the game, so...
Bluest water.
Order not really mattering here.
Nope. Be gone. We'll have 7 play points either way.
You might just go face with Ayala, actually. It wouldn't make any difference, though.
Well,
I think, honestly, killing Ayala purposely is the play. Yeah, okay.
Only reason being is because it doesn't have a turn 8 play, but does have a really good turn 9 play in Israfil.
Also, your opponent's never going to kill Ayala.
Right. So Unica might get traded in here. Could be Shielded Flame, plus the Rabbit Ear Attendant. Has a decent amount of plays here. Could even Council of Card Knights. Council of Card Knights doesn't really allow for a good Evo this turn, though, because you'd have to Evo and kill the unit that kills Sybil.
You and I, Knight.
Okay.
He's going to evolve the Knight.
This will push for an extra face damage while also clearing off the Sybil, so great play.
It won't be long
And I think he's saving the Rabbit Ear Attendant for later in the game where Council of Card Knights will come down. You can kind of pair it with
that is a
Rabbit Ear
much
Attendant.
better use of Rabbit Ear Attendant. Drawing 1 card off of her is kind of whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Especially when you have the option to combo for so much.
Right.
Ooh.
Polyphonic Roar.
He might save that for the Queen of the Dreadsea, but it doesn't seem like a terrible play here either. Although it does allow the Luminous Mage to stay in play, so could be time for Israfil to clean the board.
Israfil evolve into next turn.
Queen of the Dreadsea.
Zeus, Queen Dreadsea, Polyphonic Roar. That's game.
Pretty game. Yeah.
That is game. So.
And he has all the options in the world. He could just clean play a Bahamut next turn if he wants to. Clean play a Grimnir. Not really in a lot of trouble here. Still at 18 life points.
It won't be long now.
Now, Fanto still does have 2 evolution orbs left, so maybe if this game could stretch on for a good amount of time, a couple Alberts could win the game, but I think we're well too far away from that with the Queen of the Dreadsea combo happening next turn, most likely.
It's probably got to use these on the Bane every time, so.
It all ends here.
Yeah, and that Polyphonic Roar is just going to start accumulating so much value.
Polyphonic Roar probably better than Grimnir here, even.
I think so.
Just because Grimnir doesn't really do anything.
See if he pops the Queen of the Dreadsea. He could just opt for a Bahamut, like we said.
Yeah, a Bahamut also completely fine, since no one's playing Tsubaki, really.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we did see 2 Tsubakis today, earlier
in North
the
America,
NGE,
yeah.
Right. But yeah, I haven't seen any here yet. I kind of like the interesting distinctions, you know, that the players make. Like,
yeah, regions have always been like that. Like very early on, I chose to distinctify, I guess, EU and NA.
I like that word.
Because distinctify.
Distinctify.
Been casting for 6 hours today. Distinctify is a word now.
I know.
Like NA and EU, they're different, and people were crazy. They were like, they're not different at all. And you're stupid.
They were
and I was
so different.
They're very different, actually.
So different.
And even still, jumping to Japan, they're still pretty different. They're very similar in a lot of ways, but they're different. And it's going to be interesting. The finals.
Well, one of the main things that I've seen that doesn't really change that much is Sword. Sword looks like a package. Like, it's really hard to deviate
Well, usually
from the plan.
Sword, for the last couple expansions, Sword has had one way to play it.
Right.
So that's why it doesn't look any different.
Right, like mid-sword into now it's transitioning into the neutral sword.
Neutral mid-sword.
Value plan.
It's basically always been mid-sword.
Right.
If mid-sword was playable, it's been, looks the same. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Has a few extra tools in Rabbiteer Attendant with Council of Card Knights and Maisie and all that kind of good stuff. But still relatively plays out the same.
Sword is definitely not printed the same as Blood. No. Blood can play whatever it wants to.
Blood is all over the place.
Majesty.
I was actually super surprised to see Sin Control Blood last match, so it's not just us.
Yeah, I was actually told earlier by Mofu there was no Control Blood.
So he lied.
And I saw on the screen my worst fears, Control Blood. So that's not fun.
Okay, so it does opt for the Bahamut here.
This is going to force the last Evolve out on the Bane again.
Yep.
And then we get the turn.
Yes, then we
the
get
Dread
the
Sea turn.
Yeah,
He might actually even Grimner it. You know,
he
like why
might
not?
Grimner it. I don't even realize why he's not pulling the trigger already. Like the Polyphonic Roar plus the Zeus. Like I don't even know how you come back from all that.
He might as well get the evolves out of him. You know,
sure.
make him spend cards on Bahamut. Give him some hope.
Of course, turn off
Then-
like actual Albert plan.
Then you squish it.
Then you
squish
it
the hope. Yeah.
like a little bug.
But yeah, turning off Albert plan is pretty important because
Yeah.
getting smacked for 10 is not fun.
No,
No one
not
wants
fun
that.
at all. Especially twice in a row.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Sword players want that. No one else.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You're a sword player, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they don't want that happening to them. I don't want someone to Albert me. It's like, whatever, you Alberted me, you know?
Right,
But when
right.
I do it, it's skillful. Very
Absolutely.
skillful.
Absolutely. I will give you that. So I imagine Goblin out here, maybe even just for some extra power. There's no reason to hold it in hand unless he's trying to save it for these Rabbiteer Attendants. But yeah, it's looking pretty iffy here. Like next turn, if the Queen of the Dread Sea combo actually does come out, the Zeus is just going to run into the ward, and then Fangblade Slayer will be able to take it out. But then we're talking about running 5/5s with Storm non-stop afterwards.
True. Not to mention Zeus also kills him on the back draw because he has Bane. So
That's true.
it is very safe. But I could see a Grimner also.
Grimnir here. Grimnir's just like stalling. I don't know if Dragon really needs to stall anymore, but definitely could choose to go that route.
Stalling is fun, you know, when you're playing Dragon. It's like Dimension Shift. When you get Dimension Shift, you play all your cards at once.
To be fair, Dragon's kind of like Dimension Shift, but in a different way. So like at the end of the game, like on ladder, you'll see a lot of Dimension Shift players just like kind of play all their spells even though they don't have to.
They have
and
lethal.
then
They just keep playing everything.
They just keep playing everything. Dragon does it in the same way, except it actually takes those extra turns. You know what I mean? It doesn't take the free turns. It's just like I'll play this turn, go. I'll play this turn, go. Like you can't really beat me.
You can have a turn. I don't care. 13-13, go. 13-13, pass.
Grab me your board, go.
Okay. He's going for it.
Going for it now.
Just like we said, Zeus, Roar. Obvious picks here.
Easy discards too. Like Grimnir is a kind of a loss, but that's about it.
Yeah, kinda.
But plus, even if the Zeus is dealt with, there's still a Queen of the Dread Sea. There's 12 damage popping out next turn.
Albert, always.
Of course. Right before turn 9.
Always.
Never fails.
The gods have been outright.
Both have Bane, both Bane each other down.
That's right.
And I mean, he is 11. He's got 5/5 storms every turn, but he's 11.
He's at 11, so he does have to be careful. All he has to be cognizant of is,
at 14.
can Albert kill me this turn?
Which he took the time to bait out the evolves.
That's right.
So it can't.
You're right. You're right, thinking.
Dragon Summoner could find nothing useful.
A Sybil maybe for next turn.
Next turn, yeah, next turn.
Which it does. And yeah, just all face here.
Right, the max damage here is Albert, which is 6, plus the 2 on board, which is 8. So there's no way you can die.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure Fanto sees the writing on the wall this turn here. I don't even know if he can come back. I don't believe so. Even with an Albert, he could clear out the 5/5 and the 1/2, but then we've got another 12 damage coming right on through.
He can actually kill the 7/7.
Can.
Leaving lethal on board.
Leaving lethal on board.
Right.
Yep, that works too. I guess, regardless of what he does here, lethal is just left in play. That Polyphonic Roar is probably one of the best cards to use with Queen of the Dread Sea, because you don't really ever get a chance to just play it normally, but if you get to play it alongside something like a Zeus, or even a Bahamut into a Polyphonic Roar in a single turn, you actually provide Polyphonic Roar with its backup so that you can get it into play safely.
And if you play it for 0,
yeah,
it's insane.
It's insane.
That card is insane.
That card is insane. Like, we're talking literally, like, I talk about the play point value, but like Queen of the Dread Sea plus Polyphonic Roar plus anything, like, we're already talking about 20 plus play points.
You're usually playing 30 play points with this.
30.
So you basically get a D-shift.
Right.
Basically.
Right, exactly.
You time walk yourself, kind of.
Yeah. Time walk yourself and even play more stuff than D-shift could play in the following turn. So Fanto thinking about everything he can do here.
Just has to pass the turn so that Queen can smack him upside the head for 7. Never mind.
Alright, here comes the unenhanced Albert to not do anything here.
To do nothing.
Friends playing against each other, having fun.
Right.
Can't hate. On a big stage.
17 damage available.
Not
For
enough.
Ringo.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Exemplary battle.
Not an OTK.
So Ringo taking game 1.
Right.
One on him. Dragon is down.
So he can't play Dragon again.
Cannot play Dragon again this match.
This is Conquest with no bans.
That's right.
So the deck you win with is benched
That's right.
away from you forever.
So let's talk about that format a little bit. What do you think about it being Conquest with 3 decks instead of 2 decks?
It's interesting. I think when you add a ban to the format, this is our format minus a ban.
Right.
When you add a ban to the format, you add, I'm not going to say more strategy, but you add complexity. And not having a ban is what Japan is used to.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know how they would handle having a ban here.
I think it's super interesting. Like, everybody on our side basically clamored for a ban. They're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ban, ban,
Yeah.
ban, ban. Like, we need to be able to ban Shadow. We need to be able... How they handle it over there is they just allow players to play more decks.
You can play whatever.
Yeah, you can play whatever. You can
cares?
play 3 decks. You can counter the Shadow once it's been, you know, played and you've beat it the first... You know, if you beat it, that kind of thing. Even if it does beat you, it's then benched. So you still have to... They still have to win with 2 other decks. It's
Right.
not just like, best deck, and then you're done.
Right.
So I kind of like the format.
Because
It's
throughout
definitely a different
Shadowverse's
take.
history, 2 decks
You must die.
have always been kinda, you know,
Exactly.
really good.
Right, Shadow and Dragon.
Shadow Dragon,
yeah.
mid-sword and Forest or whatever.
Right,
There was a time when, you know, back in some of our old formats when we all had 2 decks available, everybody was playing Shadow Dragon again.
Right, exactly. So here we get to see Shadow and Sword, classic matchup. I would always say that mid-Shadow has a slight advantage over the Sword deck. Just because it can draw a lot of cards, it has really good early tempo, it can remove the big followers that Sword does put in play, with cards like Lurching Corpse and Soul Conversion and Necro Assassin and all that kind of business.
It was interesting to see him mulligan the corpse away on the play. It can't attack followers, obviously, but
Right.
on the play, you're going to get it down pretty early, and you're going to have Soul Conversions, Demon Eaters,
Right.
you know, Necro Assassins, so...
Either way, it does have a really nice curve here. It has a
Now,
1, 2,
yes.
3 plus a Soul Conversion. So not a bad mulligan by any means. And Fanto on the other side doesn't have a bad mull either. He's got a Unica into a Cinderella if he chooses, or Ravateer Attendant.
And a Goblin.
And now, yeah, just a bunch of different plays. Very good curve from both sides here. The one big difference, the separator, is kind of what I mentioned. The Soul Conversions, the Demon Eaters, just ways to push that card advantage. Ravateer Attendant's the only thing that kind of Sword has for that, but it's controllable.
Right.
If you understand that Ravateer Attendant's in the deck, then you can kind of just neuter out all the neutral followers so they can't draw the cards.
Demon Eater drawn here could be kind of okay to play instead of Lyriel.
Opts for the 2-drop here. I like this.
Goes for Lyriel
Usually
instead.
waiting for the Bone Chimera to pop all your card draws is not a bad idea.
True. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay, Fanto's cooking.
Yep. Putting up
Fanto's
some
in the
spice.
kitchen.
So here's a play that we talk about often. So when you're on the draw and you have a 1 play point follower and your opponent has a 1 play point follower, is it always correct to try to trade? Is it just ignore it? Because over 2 turns you can trade with that 1 drop.
You ignore it.
You ignore it.
You ignore it.
You like ignoring it. Okay.
As Alice decks.
As Alice. Okay.
If you're an Alice
you
deck,
kind
you
of want to
ignore it.
promote keeping followers,
Yes.
not trading. Okay.
You want their 2/2 to be incentivized to attack your 1/2.
Got it. That
If
makes
it's going to
sense.
happen.
I think that makes sense. On a more defensive note, like if you were playing a slower deck, maybe a Haven deck with a Snow
Oh,
White
yeah,
or something
for
like
sure.
that, then
Yes.
you start to trade. But
It's kind of the purpose of Snow White even,
Right,
though,
of course.
is to just, you know, get in there and fight.
of course. So yeah, I can't imagine any other play besides the Bone Chimera. Does do the value trade.
Goes for a value trade, so he doesn't care about the face damage here. Because now he can't do anything. Unica's just going to heal it.
Unica might also opt for a value trade on anything here, plus,
Well, Skull Beast.
well, yeah, Skull Beast.
You don't want to attack Bone
Right.
Chimera.
I guess Bone Chimera value trade isn't the best. Cause
Yeah, those 2 words don't fit in the same sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ravateer Attendant could come down here. I think it might be the best turn for Ravateer Attendant
Until
to come down, but
tomorrow.
off to the Cinderella.
Cinderella's got a 4/4.
That's true. It is big.
She's pretty thick.
I like that. Thick.
Yeah, she is.
Yep. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, followers that you can play in the early turns.
She is the strongest 3-drop. Second would be Zoe.
Yeah, that's right. Zoe's the 3/4.
3/4. Yeah.
And Cinderella has a downside, but not really.
Not
Zoe
even
has
neutrals.
a big downside.
Yeah, Zoe's got a huge downside.
Deal 2 damage to one of your followers whenever she attacks.
Zoe
Haven
slaps
card, by
you.
the way.
Yeah, Zoe slaps you when you attack with her.
Are you attacking with me?
How dare you?
Stop.
Just smack. Unica 9 times out of 10 is going to attack the Skull Beast here, obviously, you know, just to conserve. Not really scared of Prince Catacomb anymore.
No, definitely not.
But scared of free access to Soul Conversion Demon Eater and just, you know, get it off the board. There's no reason to keep it on the board.
This is kind of a stark difference from Old Shadow. So Old Shadow with Prince Catacomb, you almost wanted to either deny before Prince Catacomb came out, or once Prince Catacomb came out, you just kind of ignored your opponent's board because it's useless to try to fight through it.
Right.
Now it's almost always correct to trade with Shadow boards so that they cannot Demon Eater and Soul Conversion.
Almost always.
Almost.
However, Fanto disagrees.
Fanto does disagree.
Fanto went face.
He did go face. He's like, my Unica's too strong.
There is a secondary thought about Shadowcraft, and it's that Shadowcraft doesn't play any heals.
That's true.
Every point of damage on Shadow is going to be true damage.
Absolutely true.
So
this is a stark difference from how we see our side of the world play. So every single time in America, that Unica would trade into something, whether it be the Lyrial or the Skull Beast or
just
something.
even time spent on turns.
Right.
They're thinking about everything.
Absolutely. I just find it very interesting. So even just the little tiniest plays, like the 1-drop on defense going face, the Unica going face, there are just very slight differences that you can account for.
Look at this board. So scary looking.
Oh, he does run Prince Catacomb.
Prince Catacomb. Okay. Well, okay. So I was going to say, Fanto's not scared of it.
Right.
I didn't say that Ringo didn't have it.
Right.
Because I didn't know that.
Right, absolutely. So if he still continues to push face here and just kind of ignore what Ringo's doing, Prince Catacomb might eventually just take over everything that's happening on the board, which is exactly what Sword doesn't want. They don't want to lose board control, because as soon as Sword loses board control, they can't really do anything.
Yes. Game over, man. Game over. Takes up the Unica. 90% going face here, yeah.
And by the style of play that we've seen, this might just be like an Alice face play. Might start getting a little scared now that there's a big board over there, but we'll see.
I hope.
I hope.
I hope some board control is done this turn.
That's always the hope.
Otherwise, this Catacomb is going to be disgusting.
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 Literally fill up the board and just infinite value off of these Demon Eaters and Soul Conversions.
You have 2 boards. You have 10 followers.
Yep.
Lands of marvels.
Okay, so here's the Alice. Let's see what he decides to do. I imagine the Alice will get evolved at least into the 4/4, but the Cinderella,
I'm going to change the
I think it's just going to go face.
Please kill the loop. Please kill Lyrial. Ringo or Fanto.
Fanto!
Fanto.
Nope.
He went face.
Face all day. So Prince Catacomb's going to come down here with a Soul Conversion, I imagine, this turn, and just start generating a ton of value. Actually, Necro Assassin's not a bad play this turn either, but doesn't really need to go for that route.
You establish Catacomb first.
Yeah. Doesn't need to go there first.
Even though getting rid of Cinderella's kind of weird.
Now, to be fair, the way that Fanto's playing, if you don't do Necro Assassin, you know, shenanigans right now, and you don't try to trade for board, you're taking another 4 damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're getting
You got to evolve something
up
for board here.
Right.
So.
Interesting choices here. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Yep, Prince Catacomb seems like the right play.
In fact, the Catacomb only converts his board into skeletons, really.
Right. So if the Catacomb gets evolved, okay, or the fresh skeleton gets evolved, no, okay. So is going to leave the Cinderella, but he's going to get the value out of the Lyrial.
He's not going to leave Cinderella.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Full trade?
Full trade.
Let's play again.
Okay, perfect. I like it. So that's very interesting. So Fanto being the aggressor, even though he's on the draw, something we don't see on our side. So a lot of players are like, you know, if I'm on the play, I'm the aggro player. You can be the aggro player on the draw, you just have to play a very specific way. And it made Ringo be very reactionary, and now he keeps setting up big boards.
And have neutrals. Access to double Fairy Goblin on 5. That's pretty important also. So.
I like the way that this match is turning out. Like, we kind of see Mid-Shadow being the reactive player, even though they were on the play with a perfect curve. And a Prince Catacomb and all of the extra necessities that you would usually see.
They're still able to do that, too, anyway. They have Lurching Corpse, Necro Assassin. Like, they have access to, you know, removal. So.
Absolutely. I'm just very interested. I'm excited to watch all these games. Like, very different play.
Yeah, they're thankfully not all playing Control Blood.
Right.
So
we're not going to see very many Control Blood, if any Control Blood mirrors today. At least for the rest of this cast. We definitely saw them earlier today.
Right.
Boy, howdy, were those some long matches.
Oh, yes, they were. Pretty sure I fell asleep during those.
So definitely has a few options here. Has enough Shadows for the Ektar next turn, so no worries there. Could decide to get value out of the Conjurer here, the Dark Conjurer. Could decide to get value out of that plus the Necro Assassin this turn.
I think Necro Assassin's just really good.
You're breathing too loud.
Goes for it. Ah,
Takes the gamble, wins the gamble.
So now Necro Assassin can hopscotch the 4/4. You can just leave the Goblin because you don't care.
Leave the Goblin and draw some cards with some Demon Eater this turn. Or he can trade for the Goblin if he so wishes.
He may actually kill the Goblin, yeah.
Yeah, clear board.
Did? Yeah, okay.
Not bad. Setting up for a really nice Thane turn, really nice Ektar turn. I like it. So Shadow's played defensive the whole time, but apparently doesn't even care to do that. Or care about doing that.
That Lyrial top deck.
Very great. Into the Rabbit Ear.
Into a Goblin. Aw. Never a Goblin.
Not that pro.
It all ends here.
Lyrial again. You know, broken record.
Yeah,
Showing her value.
I can't even imagine why I didn't play that card in every deck that I was running that was aggro and mid range like back in the day. Even in like Dragon, we saw it come in for a little while as like the 2-drop of choice.
She's just good. Great.
Right before Dragon Summoner got printed, Lyrial was in like every Dragon deck too. So this seems like a perfect opportunity for Ektar. Clear the board, establish a 5/6, Thane up next turn. Build that board.
Right. Nowhere near as good as it used to be, but still perfectly fine here.
Yep. It in olden times would have filled up the board with 2 extra 2/2s to be left over, but not anymore. Uses up more shadows to create less, but still great.
I think he's considering that versus Thane Pass.
Yeah, Thane Pass is a consideration, but 6 damage puts him down to 7. A Luminous Mage evoed next turn puts him all the way down to 5, which then puts him into lethal range of Albert. Very scary to take this face damage here. He might even be considering like a Tentative Knight plus Soul Conversion, but yeah, here we go.
2 Zombos, gonna trade immediately.
A job well done.
So quick refresher on Ektar for those of you who don't know. 7 play point, 5/6, 8 Necromancy, summon 2 2/2 zombies, give them +2/+0, and rush until the end of turn.
Well, he gives every follower
Well, he gives every follower +2/+0 and rush, yeah.
It's kind of awkward to answer, too.
This is a very awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have just a straightforward answer to the 5/6 here at all.
He's got to leave it. He's got to leave it on the board.
He does have to leave it. Do you establish Carrot here? Do you establish Luminous Knight and Luminous Mage? Do you I mean, you definitely don't establish Albert. That's not happening.
No, don't play Albert, obviously.
Might just be Carrot time.
It might be. Feels so bad.
It does feel kind of bad. You're kind of sitting here, and like Sword kind of played out his hand, and Ringo just knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. He's like, you know what? You want to try to be aggressive? I got the tools.
He answered everything, yep.
Answered every single card, and now established a board that can't be answered, so...
A singular 5/6.
A singular 5/6.
A singular 5/6.
Just too big. Sword, not known for playing a lot of spells. No Dance of Deaths we see in Sword anymore.
Yes. Even with an Evolve. Literally, even with Evolve, this would not be answered. Which is kind of like why we saw Tsubaki come back a little bit.
That's exactly what I was going to say. This would be a great Tsubaki
She's a spell
turn.
on a stick, you know? She does stuff. This is interesting.
My shield.
Yep, getting the damage on. Can't hate. Ooh.
Usher of Sticks.
We don't see that a lot over here. We saw it a couple weeks ago on the NGE side of things, but I haven't seen it for a while. So just extra value out of Ektars, extra value out of Thanes, whatever it pulls, not bad. Here I think we're just going to see some face damage roll on through. Probably a Thane.
It's going to be a Thane, probably, yeah.
Might even go for the Soul Conversion on the Thane to get up a ward to protect the Ektar.
That'd be pretty next level.
Yep, plus get the 2 extra damage in. If the ward dies, an extra 2 damage in. So very big incremental damage. And if all of that gets protected, can play the Usher of Strix next turn to get the Thane back and replay it.
Usher of Sticks being a Rise of the Grave on a follower.
Yes.
For Necro 4, she brings back the tied for strongest follower that you've had died this game.
The highest cost follower.
Yeah, just one of them. Yeah. Which would be Thane.
Yep.
You wouldn't.
Okay.
It's
Opposite
gonna not
use it.
Soul Convert. Okay.
Not a bad play either. Obviously, no evolution orbs on the side of Fanto, so he's not really worried about too much. Trading for the 5/2 also allows those the 2 damage from the whites to come in as well, so easy peasy. Now this game's definitely not over. He still has to get that damage in.
It's pretty over. It's pretty over.
Oh,
Albert a turn early.
Okay. Clearing off the whites.
Wouldn't.
Well, he's got to kill. He's got to kill Ector.
He's got to kill Ector here.
Yeah.
And then get a carrot in hand.
Again.
But yeah.
Yeah, next turn actually, with the way this turned out, and I like it even better, is Usher of Sticks will get Ectar back and be able to push for exactly lethal. So, great play here by Ringo. I like this.
If he sees it.
I can't imagine he plays Usher of Sticks and doesn't see his own lethal. I mean, that's true. He could.
He hasn't done it yet, my friend.
That's true.
We'll see if he sees it.
That's true.
I mean, it would be a pretty fast play if you knew it was possible.
So, Usher of Six, let's talk about that card. If you did play that card, would you play it as a 1-of? Would you play it as a 2-of?
1-of.
1-of? Because we did see Dark Conjurer in the deck as well, so maybe just a couple Tech 2 drops in there.
Right. I don't think Usher of Six is a particularly useful card that you always want, but in a grindier game,
Hades is only so big.
grindier games,
especially
obviously.
in Shadow Mirrors or something like that, maybe in against Dragon.
Hey, he did it! He figured out math.
He got him! Can't even choose to clear board, almost, if he wants to.
He could.
So technically there was 12 damage available there. Or, no, sorry, 11 damage with 1 white.
Nectar being such a different card there.
Yeah,
Some no
different.
zombies.
Yep.
Literally just a buff on a stick.
Just a buff on a
7 play points, add 4 damage to the board.
And a 5/6.
Whatever.
It's still a big follower.
Whatever. 7 play... That's worse than Gilgamesh.
That's true. It is worse than Gilgamesh. 4 damage.
Demon
7.
Lord Ector being worse than Gilgamesh.
Envy here. Said it first.
It's a worse card than Gilgamesh. Just play Gilgamesh instead. It's way better. Incredible.
Incredible.
I never thought I'd ever say that. What a world where I can say that.
I will not say that I agree.
Oh
but
my gosh.
in that specific scenario, maybe. Actually, they would have been equivalent.
Yes.
So 5 damage each, yeah.
No. Ector added 4.
Right, but there was the white still. So technically, it wasn't a part of Ectar's plan, but that turn would have been the same. So if we're just talking about that turn in scenarios, I'm taking it to a whole new level right
I am
now.
not following this at all right now. You're in Narnia
I
right
am
now
in Narnia.
with this explanation.
All right, so Ringo only needs 1 more win here. Has
Yeah,
Haven.
Ringo actually is about to sweep.
That's right.
Is fighting and despair.
And you got to
all
imagine the
you
smack
know?
talk that's going to happen between
guess
friends
you're
if you get
Oh,
swept.
yeah.
So no departure here. We're seeing Neutral Haven across the board. That just seems... I think everybody got the memo on Neutral Haven.
Oh, yeah.
Neutral Haven, just the nuts.
Eagle Man.
Man.
They all watched Envy Bear content. They're like, she's right.
That's right.
This card's insane.
Eagle Man, best card in Shadowverse right now.
He's so good, dude. I mean, if you can take anything in Shadowverse and make it 0, it's probably going to be good.
Probably.
Probably, except for Chimera.
Except for Chimera.
Except
that's
for
right.
Chimera. I refuse to believe that. Tossing all 2-drops, actually, and finding 2 more 2-drops.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So one stark difference I see on the Japanese side is I see a lot of the Haven decks running Elta. And I imagine that's because they expect the metagame to be filled with a lot of either Neutral Rune to stop Fairy turns, or Dragon to stop, you know, the Breath of the Salamander turns, the Saha Quills, and all that stuff. So very interesting to see that choice.
Stops Alice also.
Stops Alice? That's actually a really good point. Stops Alice, stops... no, it doesn't stop Faria.
Stops Alice, stops Hector. Stops Felice.
Felice.
Stops everything relevant.
I said Faria, I meant Felice, yeah.
Basically everything relevant.
Everything relevant. Even stops Witch's Sweets.
Yeah. Both hands will get shut down by Elta.
That's right. It stops even March Hare's Tea Time, right? Because it's a fanfare effect to summon the Tin Soldier.
It is.
Yeah, so stops a lot
Actually,
of cards.
Elta only works on followers.
It only works on followers.
I think. I'm 90% sure.
Okay, okay. That would make sense.
So he still stops Wizard of Oz.
Stops Wizardess.
Stops everything. We're going to keep talking about cards.
We're just going to keep talking about Elta.
Elta is good. Long story short, TLDR.
Witch Sweet's not drawing a card here because there's 2 rune cards, only 1 neutral card left in Fanto's hand, so not the most valuable card at the moment.
Good old Fighter Witch.
Yeah. And not even 1 Elta, multiple Eltas.
Eltai.
Eltai.
Really.
So perhaps instead of the Unicas that we would normally see on our side.
Right, yeah, instead of Unicas. Because Elta kind of
Eltas.
has wards sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to see that evolved.
Nope.
Nobody will have time for that Elta.
Ain't nobody got time for
I
that
don't want
Elta.
to see that Elta evolved. What is this? Get this out of here.
That's right. It only becomes a 3/3, but it could literally brick your entire turn, so could be very scary.
My heart in a verse.
I mean, how awkward would it be if you have an Elta on the board and your opponent top decks a Bahamut and they're just like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Vanilla 13-13, go.
Absolutely. And we're seeing Fanto over here just with nothing to do.
Phew. What
Nothing
a
to do
nail
at
biter.
all.
Yeah, Fanto's doing what we call bricking
Yes.
in the industry.
Even has a brick for next turn. No 3, no 4.
For those of you who don't know what bricking is, because I got this question earlier.
Okay.
Bricking is when you draw a bunch of cards you can't play for a long time.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. Basically, you're building a house so that you can sleep in after your opponent crushes you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because all the cards in your hand might as well be bricks. Paperweights, really.
That's right.
Because they aren't doing anything else.
Yep. They're weighing you down. Either that or they're too heavy. That's another thing. They cost a lot. They're too heavy, maybe?
Too heavy,
Yeah.
Very top end.
Yeah.
Top end. Another Elsa coming out instead of something else, so he doesn't actually bother saving that effect.
Lands
No.
of
Wow.
wonders, lands of marvels.
What was that?
Alice.
Alice on curve?
Getting
Top decked? On curve?
Getting value here?
Always? They always have that?
On play,
Even
if
sets
you're
of a
playing
value trade.
neutral, you draw your Alice.
Lyriel here is going to happen. Who's already got it in his hand, so.
Yep, Lyriel's a great play, along with there is Unica's as well. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of different options here.
Yeah, Ringo's Haven deck is definitely weird.
Wait, am I just confused? Was that a Unica he drew earlier and not a second Elsa? I think that's what happened.
No, he had 2 Eltas.
He did have 2 Eltas.
He's had 2 Eltas die.
Okay,
Yes. There have been two dead Eltas.
Making sure. So a lot of different 2-drops then.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Even
yeah,
the
I mean, he
Beast
mulliganed 3 of
Galarius?
them. He got
Yeah.
rid of 3 of them and drew 2 back.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, Lyriel just every single game showing its value. Every single game. I imagine that this might be a turn because there's 3 amulets in hand to finally get that Beast Call Aria out. Might want to develop the Unica, but
My boss works us to the bone.
really, Lyriel just very commonly will turn 1 Evolve into a double removal spell.
right.
Which, for a 2-drop to do, is insane.
Absolutely insane. Like you said even earlier, even if this was the only play that Ringo had on the
Yeah,
entire
he
turn,
cleared the board.
still fine.
And left a 4-1.
Right.
You know, like, that's still fine.
And I
Alice-
really actually like the Beast Call here over the Unica because
Yeah.
of this play specifically. Now there isn't a double clear, and you still get value out of that Beast Call later.
That's interesting.
No crying.
Wow,
No
being
looking
aggressive. Said, you know what, I missed a couple turns. Well, I missed a turn. I top decked the
turn,
Alice.
right.
And now I want to start pushing the gas pedal.
It's possible that he realizes, you know, I have a second Alice for Gilgamesh, who will now have 7 attack.
That's right.
This guy's a Genesis Dragon now.
So, exactly. One of the biggest points about Gilgamesh is, yeah, they might only play 1, but if it's in your hand when you play all your Alices, that thing could hit hard. Starts at 5, but just keeps on growing.
It's like a truck.
Like a truck. Gilgamesh is a big titan. He's a monster.
I mean, he's a legendary character. Uncharacteristically a silver card in Shadowverse.
Yes.
But he's a very important character.
They might change that someday.
Hopefully. You know,
they change
characters
that.
have been reprinted. Jun has 2 printings. So,
Maybe they make him the new promo card, but they make him a legendary and they give him for free.
Gilgameshu. And have one with
Games.
like thousands of weapons like the real Gilgamesh.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that would be pretty cool.
Just saying, side games give us promo legendary
Yeah.
Gilgameshes.
And he could be
okay?
an 8 play point 5/6 storm.
It
That's
won't
right.
be long now.
Well, no, you
better.
don't gotta change him. He's
Just
fine.
better.
He's fine.
No, just that's the new one. It's just better.
It's just good.
It's just better. So this Gilgamesh is currently at 7 attack. He's a Genesis Dragon.
A Genesis Dragon for 8.
Garuda's a great draw here.
Amazing draw. Probably going to pop the Tin Soldier out. Make the most sense since Beast Call Aria is already popping next turn.
Could pop Tin Soldier. Could play Tin Soldier. Could play Alice Unica.
A lot of options. I think I like the Winged Sentinel Garuda just to kind of try to take the tempo back, get some damage in there.
Right. It does force an evolve, but
Perfectly good evolve.
right.
Could decide to go 3 damage to the face and just equal trade because there are no evolution orbs left for Fanto.
Right. I think I would like shooting it a little bit more. Put the health on board.
That's true. Because of Felice specifically, you don't really want to have a low toughness minion
Oh yeah,
stick around.
exactly.
So,
For sure.
yeah.
Felice and Hector.
Right, and
So,
Hector. Absolutely.
You know, everybody put these deck lists on Twitter, so everybody
Yes.
knows everybody else's deck lists.
Right. Absolutely. So those of you who are looking for the deck list for this tournament, you can check on Twitter. I'm sure after the Rage tournament's over, or even right now, you can go to the Rage site and look at it. It'll probably be all in Japanese. But pictures...
I mean, the picture of the cards. Sorry.
Pictures.
We're looking at deck lists in Japanese.
To be
but
fair, what I realized today is that a lot of the Japanese cards actually have different art.
Do
Like,
they?
I couldn't even read the deck list when they printed them out in Japanese because they have just different art than we have on a lot of cards. So technically it might be hard, but I think if you hover over them, you'll get a good enough impression of what the card is.
I don't feel like that's true at all.
I mean, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you just won't know. And again, we're seeing Fanto play yet another card that he can't get value out of because he just doesn't have the appropriate
He
neutrals
didn't
in
get the
hand.
fanfare, but
Still a 6/6 ward.
5 play point 6/6 ward.
Not
you
bad.
know, that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Realistically, though, now he's got 2 Gilgameshes, so he's sitting on 12 damage from hand, but is he going to have time to even play them and get another 2 damage in is the question.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, we'll find out next time.
That's right.
On
Tune in to next turn.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, the pressure that Ringo could apply this turn is really good.
Yes. Especially with the Alice. The Alice basically makes Tin Soldier right big enough to kill the Hector without actually dying.
Right.
Can push in 6 damage in.
And that's just enough.
Yeah, even play a Beast Call Aria or a Unica. Unica's probably safer because Beast Call could kind of ruin your board.
Awkward enough that Tin Soldier actually is neutral.
Right.
It's not a Haven follower.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
neutral.
That is pretty awkward, actually.
It's because Shadow has access to them. In Mad Hatter.
I see. That's right.
I'm sorry.
So now we're going to see the value train pumping out from Ringo here. Solidifying his board position.
Oh yeah, this is over.jpg outside of Mutagenic Bolt. He has to have Mutagenic Bolt.
Yeah, even Mutagenic Bolt super scary here. That's still 10 damage being left in play. However, if he didn't do anything else but Mutagenic Bolt here, Mutagenic Bolt would take Ringo down to 8. Not quite enough for a Gilgamesh swing. So still not quite good enough. Could be going for something. Has to.
We'll put him at 9. And then Gilgamesh will attack for 2,
9.
and then he'd pass turn, and they
9.
would kill him actually.
Okay, you're right.
Mutagenic Bolt would be good enough, but
9,
he didn't get it.
2. Yep, then the Flame Rats. That's right.
Doesn't matter, he didn't get it.
That's
so
right. Didn't get anything there off of the Wizard of Spaz.
No.
And
Ringo
wow,
taking it 3-0 against his friend.
Sweepo.
That's right.
Really,
That's
3-0
right.
Sweepo over here.
Ringo the Apple. Doing it.
Ringo the Apple.
That's
yes.
right.
Ringo the Apple. I love that. I love that he's got the apple hat on. I love that his name means apple.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. I like the personality. Like, I want to see more personality on our side.
Yeah.
We've got cams on our players now.
where's Zone's like ice cream hat?
Right, exactly.
Right?
We need to make
Where's
players
Bottle
hats.
should have a bottle cap on his head.
Exactly.
You know, everybody should have a hat that signifies their name, clearly.
What are we doing wrong over
I
here?
have no idea.